believe.
You still feel that the government is trying to make the United States into a Christian nation?
Oh, of course, absolutely. For example, you heard just now, I was in the Second World War. I was in the Signal Corps. I was in the European Theater of Operations. And during that time, when I was saying the pledge, it did not say under God. The phrase under God was added during the McCarthy hysteria in order to have a Christian capitalist country fight the godless atheist country, the USSR. And this is a deliberate part of our political scheme in order to make people conscious of the fact that we are, quote, a Christian nation.
You've challenged this pledge business before, haven't you, this under God phraseology?
I tried to challenge it when John was in school, and the courts would have nothing of it. So now Ricky Sherman and his father are litigants in the Chicago area school district in order to have under God removed from the Pledge of Allegiance.
That little kid looks so cute. Does he really have any idea of what he's talking about, or is he just a pawn in a battle?
We argue with his father as to whether or not that's true, but I know Ricky. I've been to their home a number of times. He's been to our national center in Austin, Texas, and Ricky has been reared like this from the very beginning. And he accepts this just as unquestioningly as he accepts, say, the mathematics table or the alphabet.
John, let me get you involved in the conversation. I've interviewed your mother on a couple of occasions in the past, and she has said rather outspokenly that religious people are cowards and churches are leeches on society. Do you buy that as well?
Oh, sure. I have said that all along. In fact, in some ways, I guess I'm probably a little more militant than she is, the next generation. I think that something has to be done to make the world religion-free. And I really think that that's what the atheist goal has to be. I think that religion is bad for people psychologically in the same way that something like smoking, for example, is bad physically. And people have to be educated out of the need to be dependent upon religion, just as they would be to be dependent on tobacco or alcohol or drugs or anything else. It's to me, it is a mind drug, and I think that dependency on it is a bad thing.
Wasn't there somebody way back when who called religion the opiate of the people?
Yes, he was. That was Karl Marx, and I think he was right.
Absolutely. You believe he was right?
Oh, I don't.
Oh, yes.
I think that in the United States, the opiate of the people is football.
Well,
that's another conversation. That's a different spot. We're not going to talk about football with the atheists here. You're talking about freedom of religion or freedom from religion. John seemed to suggest freedom from religion.
Yes, that's right. This is one of the cases that I do contemplate. We are going to challenge the First Amendment, the Constitution itself, because it talks of freedom of religion, which excludes atheists. So we are going to go into the United States Supreme Court, if at all possible, as a court of primary subject matter of this, and see if we can't do something about the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States.
Okay, when you talk about separation of church and state, what do you really want to see? You know, because now you're saying that I'm saying live and let live. I mean, if I want to believe, let me believe, right?
Well, if you want to believe, you believe. Then you pay for your belief, and that's our whole point of reference. You pay property taxes on your land that you hold. You pay taxes on the, you pay sales tax, you pay income tax.
You're talking about the churches now,
churches.
right?
Yeah. That's right.
Okay.
We think that if religion is a private affair,
taxes?
We pay taxes, yes.
Are you tax exempt?
We have 1, 2, 3 organizations now that are tax exempt. They are educational organizations. And here's the difference. Each year we must file a Form 990 and show the United States government how we spent our money for education, for church-state separation, and the civil rights of atheists, whereby the churches absolutely need to pay no taxes, and they need not report to anybody, even their own congregations, if need be.
Let me ask the folks at home to jump in the conversation. 202 in Washington, D.C., 432-4000 is our telephone number. We're talking tonight with both Madalyn Murray OHair. She's the founder of American Atheists, and certainly is probably the most well-known atheist in the entire world. John Murray is president of the American Atheists, and I think what you're seeing here tonight on this program is somewhat the torch having been passed to a different generation, since now John is more taking over the work that Madalyn has been doing for a long time, but I doubt that she's going to retire completely, because she does say it the way she sees it. Jesus Christ, what do you think of Jesus Christ?
Mythological, never had any historical existence at all.
What are you going to do about all those books, the Bible?
Oh, come on, this is a bunch of junk. I think that it should be thrown in a trash can, and the world would be better off without it. Let's talk about J.C. for a minute. We call him J.C. He says, I came not to bring peace but the sword. You want that? He said, I came to turn brother against brother and father against son. You want that? He says, yea, even unless you hate yourself, you cannot come unto me.
But how about love thy neighbor as thyself?
Love thy neighbor like thyself was an aphorism 6,000 years before the story of Jesus Christ was invented.
What are you going to do about the Sermon on the Mount?
The Sermon on the Mount, should I recite that to you too? Because I know it by heart. Several of the things that he said on the Sermon on the Mount, for instance, was, do not pray publicly as in the public schools of the United States. But when you pray, pray privately. Do not do your social welfare in public and claim that you have done it using government funds, not your own. But he said, you do it yourself privately, and let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. That Sermon in the Mount was put together from Eastern religions of all kind and from the great spokesman for theological and philosophical premises.
I don't quite get it. You
that.
grew up in a home where there was religion, right? And you
Presbyterian.
studied and you studied the Bible, right?
Oh yes, in college and in graduate school.
So what caused you to go in the other direction?
Read the Bible. It's a bunch of junk. It's sadomasochistic. It's brutal.
Oh, you
it's
must
ugly,
make people
it's
so
full
angry
of
when
hatred.
you say that, though, huh?
But it's so true. If we
Do you
could
think
have,
when you die it's all over? I mean,
you don't think that you keep on going, do you?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh yes.
What happens when you erase one of these videotapes?
Gone.
Yeah, that same way with you, kid. Everything is stored in your brain, and when your brain is gone, you're gone.
Oh, I hate to think that.
I know. That's why it's necessary to have a decent, kind, love-filled, human, outreaching life now.
But now, where are you going? You don't have a soul? Do you have a soul?
Oh, absolutely none. That's
John,
all
no.
balderdash.
No, there's no such thing.
Those are an invention of persons who want to control other persons. Religion lives through fear. Religion lives through making people dependent upon something outside of themselves. Religion lives through authoritarian brutalities, psychological brutalities, and this is what keeps religion alive.
You refuse to say the concept of "so help me God" in a...
For a jury oath, that's right.
Okay, so...
In Texas, you have to either swear or affirm "so help you God" on 2 different levels when you come for jury service. First with the large panel, and then if you're selected out for a smaller courtroom. And both I and my sister refuse to do that because we feel that as an atheist, we don't have to. We can take an oath that, according to our knowledge of the pains and penalties of perjury or what the penalties in the legal system are, that's enough of a deterrent for us not to lie to attorneys' questions, but swearing on God, since we don't believe in one, isn't at all. And my sister spent a day in jail over that because a judge didn't like her refusing to take the oath, so he put her in jail.
Well, it wasn't
for a day.
refusing to take the oath, it was saying the "so help
word,
me
so
God."
help me
Yeah.
God.
And I don't have a big problem with that. As an atheist, I don't think you should have to say that.
Well, down
I
in
don't think you
Texas,
should.
they think that we
Huh?
do. As a matter of fact, we're in the 5th Federal Circuit Court of Appeals on appeal right now.
Yeah.
And we are still in the state courts in Texas for my granddaughter and my daughter having remained in jail.
Educate me this. Educate me this. The Pledge of Allegiance came up when? When does that...
1954, in the middle of the McCarthy
No,
hysteria.
no, but back. When was it written? When was it
Oh,
first?
1920s.
1920s.
Yes,
That's
sir.
right.
And how was it used in the early days? You just wrote a long article on it, didn't you,
Yeah,
John?
yeah, it was used in the early days as just that, as a pledge of allegiance to the flag, but the writer of it never intended for the words "under God" to be in it, and they weren't. He was opposed to that, and his letters and those of his daughter now substantiate that. And then later on, during the McCarthy, during Nixon-Eisenhower, "under God" was put into the pledge, along with putting "in God we trust" mandatorily on the paper money. and along
Oh,
with
you don't like
changing
that
the
either.
national
Oh, no,
motto.
you don't like that
we're trying
either.
to
Yeah,
get
the
that out.
national motto was changed from E pluribus unum, to In God We Trust also. 54, 55, and 56, 3 years.
Let me point out one other thing. This is one nation under a constitution. It is not one nation under God. IBM means more to us than Jesus Christ. Sears Roebuck is much more important to the nation than God. And it is imperative that the people understand that we are a secular nation, that we are existing under a constitution that is secular, absolutely secular, and that our nation was the first nation in the entire world that ever separated state and
But
government.
now this is the part
state
I
and
want to
church.
go back to this. I want to get back to this because this is real important to me. Do you think it's okay for religions to exist, even though you don't like them, even though you don't believe in God?
Religions can exist as long as they self-support and they take care of their own institutions, and they don't go to the state and say, make it easier for us. For example, Sunday closing laws, like you close everything so nobody can do anything but come to church on Sunday. Or you give us tax exemption, or you give us special mail rates, or you come out as a public official and have public days of prayer or fasting or humiliation, as they call them, or things like that. As long as we have a separation of state and church where the churches do their own thing and exist on their own, fine. But when you have the government bending over backwards on every level, doing everything they can for them, that's what we object to. We don't care. Let people have their religious schools, their religious hospitals. If somebody wants their child to have a religious upbringing, put them in a parochial school. Fine. We don't care about that, but pay for it. Don't inflict it on all the public school children, for example.
Now, are you fighting a losing battle here? Because I mean, the president, he was not president of the United States then. He was a candidate for president. But when he said, "I don't think that the atheists are citizens and
or patriots,"
I was going to say that not very good patriots. And he said, "I'm just not very good with that." I mean, you are all 10% of the population, and I don't buy your belief, but I hope that you respect mine, and I'm going to respect yours because you live
that's
here.
the rub.
What?
Did President Bush respect our concepts?
Well, he has
when
to.
he said no,
but he should.
He said he does not think we are citizens. He does not think we can be patriots, and he said this is one nation under God. It is not. It is one nation under the Constitution. He is going somehow to apologize to us. We're going to keep up a campaign until he does.
Now, you want an audience, you want an apology.
Yes, and the people that are particularly the most upset are all of the people like Madalyn who were veterans, atheists and veterans. There were plenty of atheists in foxholes, believe me.
You tried to
and they're
join the
very
Veterans
upset.
of Foreign Wars?
Yes.
That's right, and the Veterans of Foreign Wars absolutely demands that you sign an application which says on it, "I believe in God." And I don't see how anyone can do this, and we are also going to do something about that. The attorney for American Atheists most probably will sue Internal Revenue Service, asking for the VFW tax exemption to be taken away from it. Incidentally, I'm also going after the DAR because they have just issued membership cards this year stating that under no circumstances can atheism be included in any concepts having to do with the United States. My great, is that enough? Grandfather fought with George Washington at Valley Forge. How dare the DAR tell me that there cannot be any atheism? So I'm going after the DAR too. I'm not a joiner. Generally, I don't join anything, but I'm going to join the VFW and I'm going to join the DAR.
Are you really?
Before the year is out. Yes, I'm going to force them both to take me.
There is trouble wherever you go, Madalyn.
Well, it seems to me that atheists are citizens, and atheists are probably the best part of the citizenry. We have more education, we have more political acumen, we are in a higher income bracket, we are the teachers, the lawyers, the doctors, the professional men across the United States, and we are not going to be ignored anymore. We're not going to be insulted anymore, and no matter how many legal battles that takes, we'll fight them.
You know, I was thinking about it coming down here because this is kind of a deja vu. Is that the thing when it's a kind of a flashback of because we've explored a few times in my career, going back I think to Cincinnati days, the concept of atheism, and
we get more hardline daily because the Christian community is moving in undercover where they can, the radical right, and they must be stopped now.
Yeah, but they don't scare me.
They scare me, and I know what they're doing.
Hi there, you're on Late Night America?
Yes, this is Melanie calling from Concordia, Kansas.
Hi there, go ahead.
My question to Miss OHair is, given the situation that conversion with her son, becoming a Christian, I wondered what her thoughts were and how that has affected their relationship.
Okay, there is another son.
Yes, and how my relationship is with him is none of your business.
Ooh. Oh, that's too bad for a mother to have to say that.
No, I'm sorry, but I have a private life and I have a public life. My private life is not open to the inspection of idle callers into talk shows.
Okay, but there is another son, and he is a Christian.
Careful.
Christian?
Careful.
No?
Careful. I know the inside story, and I don't care to talk about it.
That's what he says that he is.
Oh, okay. Well, and that's all I can
That's what he
report
says
back.
that he is in public.
As
yeah.
he goes to the bank with the Christian money.
Okay, I'm not getting involved in the family.
Thank you.
I'm not going to get involved in the family. Hi there, you're on Late Night America.
Hello, I'm Paul from Davidson, North Carolina,
Go ahead, Paul.
and people have a need for support groups. And I would like to ask Madalyn, what would she like to see to take the place of religion as a support group?
Atheism is a support group. We have a large membership organization, and we have our own support group for those persons who are no longer religious. And the thing that any person can use instead of religion is reason. Rely upon yourself. You're sufficient.
But you can't get to open and close your meetings with a prayer.
Isn't that the
can't do
truth?
that.
Or salute the flag.
Why couldn't you salute the flag?
Because it's a one nation under God, and we're not one nation under God. How dare anybody exclude me from this country?
Okay, now what do you think about the Supreme Court ruling on the right to burn the flag?
I have a very hard time with that because I was taught extraordinary respect for the flag because of an incident in our family. My great-grandfather was in the Second Battle of Bull's Run in the Civil War, and when the flag bearer was shot down, this man grabbed up the standard and ran forward in front of the troops, and he was shot while attempting to carry the flag. I heard that story, I don't know how many times, on my grandmother's knee. I could not burn an American flag. On the other hand, I understand the free speech issue, and I think the Supreme Court was right.
Was right.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi there, you're on Late Night America.
Yeah, this is Kirk from Atlanta,
Go ahead, Kurt.
and I'd like to address my question to her and ask her if she believes that there is an eternity on a judgment seat of Christ, and if so, what does she plan on saying to God when she meets him?
Okay.
Number one, there is no eternity. All you have is the life years that you have on earth here, so please make the best of them. Educate yourself and reach out to the human community, and please help save our earth. And meanwhile, of course, there is no God, so I don't need to worry about facing
You
him.
really are strong in that
Hurd.
conviction, aren't you?
Absolutely, totally convinced, and I think everybody else should be.
But I'm totally convinced in the other direction.
Well, Dennis, maybe you'll get over it.
Oh, you know what I walk around saying, Madalyn, when you believe, you're just going to be dynamite, you know? I just think, there, for the grace of God, here we are. Hi there, you're on Late Night America?
Hi, I'm Nick from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Go ahead, Nick.
I'm a lawyer who happens to believe in God. She's conceded that the Constitution protects freedom of religion and not freedom from religion. I'd like to know by what right she thinks she can force others to follow her beliefs and abandon public belief in God.
We're not asking you to. We're asking you not to intrude yourself into government functions of any sort. The public schools are supported by tax funds. Stay the hell out of them. Government institutions are supported by tax funds. Take your creches and your menorahs and get them the hell off of the lawns and out of the courthouses, etc. Practice your religion in your home and in your heart, in your churches. Don't bring it into government. We're not asking for anything special. We are simply saying this is a secular country and it should remain like that, instead of you attempting to intrude your insanity into the affairs of ordinary people.
Now, I'd see the first thing I was going to have to admonish you on your choice of being a little harsh.
I'm not harsh.
When you're saying get the hell out of there and things like that. But now, where did you learn about hell? Now, come on, now you got to be consistent, Madalyn.
Well, you see, I have a great number of psychiatrists advising me, and they say, Madalyn, use terminology like that because then people have to look at the idea of hell.
That wasn't my concept. My question has to do with hell. Now, if you're using hell to buttress one of your arguments, you have to suggest there's also a heaven.
No.
I think I've caught you in an inconsistency, Madalyn.
No, it isn't an inconsistency.
How can you
It's
use
a
hell?
It's a use of their terminology in order to irritate them more.
Do you
the
do
more
that? Do you do that? Do you do that?
I
Do you
do it
do that?
deliberately because the
Why?
more irritated they become, the more inadequate they are in their arguments.
But hi there, you're on Late Night America?
Yes, my name is Chance, and I'm calling from Boston.
Go ahead.
Both of the guests seem to be very confident in mankind as a whole and our ability to solve our problems. That indicates to me that their view of man is essentially good and capable of goodness. Don't they see man as essentially selfish and self-seeking, and as our Judeo-Christian tradition holds? They seem to not understand really the nature of man, in my opinion.
Let's get John involved in the conversation.
Well, I agree that most people really don't care about anything, about ecology, about the Constitution, about their freedoms, until it directly affects them. It has to come right into their home or right into their family unit before they really care about anything. But on the other hand, where else are we going to go but one another? But those of us humans here on Earth have to get together, and we have to solve our problems. Nothing from outside, nothing extraterrestrial is going to solve them for us. We all have to get together. The countries have to communicate across separations of governmental systems, across languages, and we have to figure it out. We have to figure out, for example, the greenhouse effect, or we're all going to burn up.
Yeah, why doesn't God
Some of
take
those
care of
kind
that?
of things we have to get together on, and that's all that we have. We have our human intelligence, we have science, we have the various mathematical and thought systems to work with, and that's it. But praying is talking to yourself. We're not going to do any good with that.
Hey, I want to ask you one question before you go, okay? You did a Saturday Evening Post interview a long, long time ago.
Probably.
She confessed to Robert Liston that she didn't really care all that much about atheism. I've always been more interested in politics and social reform, she explained. But I've gotten into this thing, and I've been driven out of the community. Atheism is all I have to fight my way back with. I want respect for my right to have an opinion, and I want to live. I could be a damn fascist and do the same thing I'm doing now.
Well, that was Liston. I don't know how many times you've been interviewed. When the interviewer puts his ideas into your words.
Direct quote?
Oh, come on, direct quote.
Direct quote?
Sure. I can give you a direct quote from you, Dennis Hawley. All I have to do is use two little gadgets.
So you're really sincere.
I have been
the
an
battle.
atheist since I was about 10 or 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have been totally politicized during all of that time because my family was, my grandparents were, my great-grandparents were. And of course, religion is politics. Politics is religion. Every choice you make, even down to the food you eat, is a political choice these days. And I think that you know it and I know it. Of course, I'm in a political battle. I'm in a theological battle. I'm in a sociological battle. And I'm in a battle for freedom of the mind, which is the last and the ultimate freedom.
One thought you want to leave the folks with?
Sure. Give me a call and come and join us if you're interested in doing something for humankind, not for God.
Okay. We have a number up on the screen right now. Dial the atheist,
That's
512. That's down in Texas.
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas, 458-5731. Dial the atheist. Do you come on the line, or is there no answer?
Yes.
There's no answer?
No.
It's not like dial a prayer. Well, there is an answer,
No,
right?
there is an answer.
Okay, there
That's
is an
right.
answer. Thank you, John, for being with us tonight.
Welcome.
Madalyn, it's good to see you once again. You always stimulate us. Doctor of Jurisprudence, Eisenhower staff in the war, social worker, Howard University, she's gone to the Supreme Court a number of times. She's a very bright woman here. You got to listen to her when she's here. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'd
Dennis.
like to get your thoughts and feelings about any of the topics on Late Night America. Drop us a line to the mailbag, 500 North Capitol Street, Washington, D.C. 20001. The price of our addictive society next on Late Night America.